Hey there, you guys, it's soup time. It's definitely, we are like not beginning fall, we're fully in fall around here, and it's cold and damp and like the perfect night for some soup. So I am making an oldie but goodie, bringing some good ones back. I'm not running out of recipes, but trying to like think about things that I love that I haven't shown you guys that are go-tos. And so this is a go-to for me, definitely. It goes back to when Scott and I were first married, and I've talked about her before, Terri Wood, my good friend in Nashville, Tennessee. She turned me on to her ham and corn chowder. So I got a super old school little recipe card. That's the dog scratching at the door. Anyways, this is what I'm making. It's super easy. It's so comforting, and it's not super heavy. It's just got regular milk in it, no cream. And you make basically kind of like a roux. So it's some butter and flour and milk, which is a roux, and on the side, and that's what you're gonna whisk into just kind of a broth with some potatoes, celery, corn, and then I have ham. This is actually what made me think about making this tonight, because I have some ham that I pulled out of the freezer from, I think maybe Easter, that I just diced up, and it's been sitting there. It's ready to get used up. It's been a while, but I think it's still good for this type of thing. So if you ever have ham left over, but you aren't sure what to do with it, dice it up and you can make this soup. It's awesome. Or make it fresh. You could buy deli ham and dice it up as well. Okay, you guys, step one is to peel and dice 2 medium potatoes. I love Yukon Golds, and I do a pretty large dice, as you can see. And then it's a cup of chopped celery, again, size that you like. 1 can of corn. I didn't have a can, I had frozen. So I just kind of guesstimated about how much that was, a little over 1.5 cups or so maybe of the frozen corn kernels, and then 3 cups of chicken broth. So that is gonna be coming up to a bubble here in my pot, and then also some cracked pepper. And I'm gonna let this go until it bubbles, and then it will be covered and reduce the heat for about 25 to 30 minutes so those potatoes can cook and get nice and tender. And then I will show you what step 2 looks like in just a sec. All right, step 2. So I took a couple tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to sprinkle, and I already pre-measured it just to make it easy because I only have one hand, my flour. Oops. And that's, it was usually it's equal parts fat and flour, but this recipe, it calls for 2 tablespoons of butter to 3 tablespoons of flour. So I just will cook this for, you want to cook the flour when you're making a roux for about, I don't know, I say at least a minute or so, because you want to cook out kind of that kind of cakey flour taste. So that's the reason why you do this step. And you just want to keep it moving. You're not trying to do this on super high heat, but you want to have it be, you know, cooking and bubbling, and you can see that it is bubbling when I let it sit for a sec. And then I have my milk already measured. That's another important step whenever you make a roux. Have everything measured and ready to go, because this can't just sit here and hang out. So because I'm one-handed, I'm not going to be whisking as I add my milk, but I'll add a little bit. And I got my whisk right here, and then I'll whisk a little bit to kind of get that incorporated. But this is really, really simple. This is like the only kind of like, not even hard step, but is the roux. And so what happens is with the milk, with the flour and the butter, it's like a thickening agent, if you will. And as this cooks and gets warm, it will start to get thicker and thicker. This is actually the base for mac and cheese. And so as this gets thicker, creamy, and kind of coats the back of a spoon, so as you like have your spoon in here, you could like lift it up and run your finger down in it, and it'll leave a mark. It's pretty thick, and this will just get added to that base of the soup, and that's basically it, you guys. Then it's some cheese and ham. So that's step 3, easy soup. Okay, step 3. This really is a 3-step soup, you guys. You got number 1, number 2. I want you to real quick look in here. See how thick this got? So it's like it's kind of coating the sides, and you do want to stir it pretty constantly when it's in here, but this is ready to go. And it says 30 minutes on the original recipe, but I find that it takes more like 20 to 25. I checked it at 22 minutes and my potatoes were done. That's really what you're waiting for. So I will add this creamy mixture right into my soup pot. And a roux, you guys, you could use heavy cream if you wanted, but this gives it a little bit of a lighter effect. You know, you could use a non-fat milk if you wanted. I don't have non-fat milk, but you could do that, but you still have the butter, but it's not going to be as heavy. And then kind of take a peek in here. You can see it just kind of melds in and it becomes creamy without being like really heavy, because you've got the carbs with the potatoes and the corn, but your broth is creamy but still light, which is really nice. So now in goes my ham from Easter. Got it out of the deep freeze. It's all ready diced and ready to roll. And so that's just gonna pop right in there and get stirred in, and I love it because it's, look how colorful it is too. You got yellow, green, white potatoes, and then just a little bit of cheese. I will not be doing all this cheese. Some of this will be for garnish. It calls for a half cup, so I'm gonna be generous. I love shredding my own cheese for stuff like this because it melts in so nice. None of the stuff that anti-caking agents or whatever. And you guys, this is it. This will cook for just about 5 more minutes until everything's all bubbly and melted, and then soup is on. And I'm gonna garnish with a little bit of fresh green Italian parsley for color and for kind of a freshness, because this is kind of creamy and potatoey, starchy, and it's a nice little balance, but not necessary, and a little bit more cheese, and dinner will be ready. See you in a sec. Okay, step 4, enjoy soup. So I've poured myself just a little bit. And I'm gonna garnish with just a touch of cheese. That's not necessary, but it makes it pretty. And who doesn't? Well, maybe some people love cheese. I love cheese. And I'm gonna do some fresh parsley because it looks pretty. And look at that. Oh, yes, please. It looks pretty and it has a really fresh taste. So anyways, I'm going in. And I always have too much, so hopefully I will not overdo here. But here we go, test taste time. Oh yeah, that is some wonderful fall, winter soup. Yeah, so good. Okay, so here's what I love about this soup. It is creamy without being heavy, where you feel, because it's just so rich. Scott's laughing. It is comforting with the potatoes. It's got some sweetness from the corn, a little saltiness from the ham. The cheese obviously adds a nice little like cheesiness, if that's a word, I don't know. But it's like all the things, and there's still a little bit of a kind of bite to the celery that's in there. It's not totally soft. So it's like textural, it's creamy, it's sweet and salty, and just comfort food. Ham and corn chowder. Highly recommend you give this one a whirl. It's really, really easy. 3 steps, 2 pots, dinner's served. It's ready to go. Tucker even wants to have some. He's whining about it. Tucker, don't you? So you guys, thanks for watching. Delight of the bite. Subscribe, share, tell your friends what I'm doing over here. Lots of videos to watch. It's been a little over a year, and there's a ton of fun things to see, so go check them out on my YouTube channel. Signing off.